The only thing I can think is he doesn't really want to come and he's quite happy to wait till the summer, or Arsenal aren't interested in him. And it looks
That's
like
what I think
Sesko is
with
the
him, you
one,
know. I'll
isn't it?
be real.
So,
I think that with your Chris. I don't think we're really onto him like that. I think that's a paper one. I think Isaac, clearly, I think the club would dream to have him. But as we both know, you know, it's going to take a lot of money. And even that's a myth. I think Sesko just makes sense for the club. He's young. He was quote unquote affordable. You can kind of see where he ties in. I don't think they want Gyökeres. I think they like him. I think they've scouted him. But I don't know why, Dan. I just think that one's a paper one, if I'm honest. Like the paper's just throwing his name into it. I'm having all three of them. I'll be real. My dream would be Isaac, though, man.
Isak's the number one. I mean, the problem I've got with Isak is I think Newcastle are going to get Europe. Whether it's Champions League or not, I don't know. But I
Yeah.
think they are, which means I think they keep their players for another season. And I think if we want to go and get Isak, he's going to be 150 million. And that is a mad, mad amount of money to play on someone who
Yep.
does get injuries that hasn't won the Golden Boot. So, look, if you look at what Isak can do, if he stays fit, I think he's up there to win the Golden Boot. That's how much I rate him. I think he's that good. And at the moment, he's on fire alongside Newcastle. He's the dream. If you can't get him, it's Gyökeres. And then after that, I'm probably leaning towards Victor Osimhen ahead of Sesko and Vlahovic, if I'm honest.
Osimhen
But
might be attainable. I swear he's got a break clause in the Turkey deal. And I'll be respectfully to the Turkish club he's at. He didn't want to end up there in the summer. Let's be real. He didn't want to end up. He had a move probably lined up. He thought he'd be playing in the Prem or something. For one reason or not, it didn't happen.
I think it works, Osimhen to Arsenal, and a lot of people I speak to really believe he's the one that we should be
And
going
I'm
and getting.
desperate now, so I'm having him.
Well, I mean, we're desperate, but it might be that he's perfect for the amount that we're creating, because we're creating chances and our
That as well.
ball fluffing them. Yeah. And I think Osimhen's not a player that comes and ball carries and starts to create it for himself. He is a killer, and he's one of those guys that, yeah,
Put in the back of the net.
but he will put it in the back of the net also. So I think when you look at Osimhen, I think that would make sense. Gyökeres would be my dream this window. Isak's the ultimate dream signing, though, of course.
I think, yeah, like where we're talking about strikers, yeah, I think we've kind of like not really. We've been talking about Isaac, we've spoken about Sesko. I don't think we've really spoken about Vlahovic. Like, I want to ask you, do you think he's the guy? And like, do you actually believe the rumors in it? Because on one hand, I do think we have an interest. Clearly, there's some contract business at Juventus. We tried to get him before. We need a striker. But on the other hand, yeah, like I look at what, rightly or wrongly, we know we want our strikers to score goals. But all the other stuff Mikel Arteta wants from him, I wonder why we was linked with him in the first place. Because he's not really that presser, that dropping deep. And I can't remember the last international break. He was playing for Serbia, and he kind of sent an indirect at Thiago Motta. He was like, I like playing for Serbia because the manager lets me conserve my energy and just stay up front. Now, rightly or wrongly, for me, maybe I'm naive, bro, but like that don't make sense in an Arteta system. So it's like, where you at with Vlahovic? Like,
where am I at with Vlahovic? I wanted him when he was at Fiorentina because he was banging in goals.
we all
And
did.
I'm all about form. I think for momentum and confidence in football is key. And I was all about form. Now, he's gone to Juventus and he hasn't been a shambles. He had scored some goals. He scored quite a lot of goals at times in certain seasons. My problem with Vlahovic is he's got a terrible first touch. And I'm not saying that makes you a bad footballer, right? But at the same time, I do feel like he's going to need that if he's going to be lumped up to him, because he's a big geezer, right? Now, is that a massive upgrade on Havertz? I think it probably could be, because
In terms of the
he's
goals,
had
yeah.
more in terms of the goals. But I'm not going to put money on him scoring 20, 30 goals a season, and that's what we need. I'd have more hope in the others, because if he's going to come to Arsenal and get 15 goals, that's fine for this January to May. But if he's going to get 15 goals across the season, that's what Havertz did last season, which wasn't enough. So we need to be realistic about it. We need to get someone who's a huge upgrade, a clear starter. I don't want to bring in someone and go, oh, I still don't know who starts then. Is it Havertz or him? I don't want that. I want it to be, you're my number 9, you're my left winger, and I'm sorry, Martinelli, Havertz, and Trossard, but you're going to have to fight to get back in this
Yeah,
side.
you lot on the bench until you show different.
You've had your time. Yeah, yeah.
I want to ask you as well, yeah, because I know this is something where, I mean, every Arsenal fan's gonna be passionate on it. I've left it on screen for a reason, yeah. Like, talk to me about the Kroenkes. Like, who do you attribute the blame to at this moment in time? Is it a thing where Arteta had a limited budget and he didn't utilize it well? Is it a thing where it has to come from the owners? Because again, they sat there, bro, and you've seen it. They said we want to be title winners, we want to do this and that. I think everybody, to a degree, at Arsenal or terms of Arsenal fans, kind of checked out based off the summer. So it's like, who's to blame with you, or is it a bit of everyone? We're like, where are we at? Bearing in mind, we ain't got no sporting director as well, bro. Like, me and you are waffling about transfers and contracts and this and that. We ain't got no sporting director. This is a madness for a team that's finished second last 2 years.
Look, I think when everybody wants to point blame and praise, it should go to the same people. I've always believed that when things are
True.
going well as a team, you should be celebrated, and when things are going wrong as a collective, you should be criticized. I do think that that does work a little bit differently when there's individual quality you can see in a team, for example. So, when you get to 90 minutes and let's say Declan Rice puts in a worldie to win you that game, the team performance can be looked at, but Rice deserves the most credit there because he's put it in the top bins, right?
He's nicked
I
3 points
think
for the team. Yeah.
yeah, I think the same goes for Mikel Arteta when he makes an unbelievable substitution, which comes on to win you a game. You've got to be praising the player he brought on and the manager who brought him on. But any time that you start to point fingers about the project, where we're going as a club, do you believe that this is the right decision? You have to look at the top. And that for me is the Kroenkes. And Stan Kroenke, I don't count because no one hears from him. But Josh Kroenke is at least a little bit more present these days. And you can actually say,
Apparently,
I
he was
can
at the
feel
North
you.
London derby.
He was at the North London derby. So it means that he has actually got some think about him that is trying to allow him to connect with fans and say that he cares. I don't like them. I've just got to be real with you. I don't like them
I can't blame you.
because um, I look at what they do in America
Yep.
and what they spend, and I look at what they do in England and what they spend, and it's chalk
And
and
what they
cheese.
win.
I also look at what they win. Yes, they might not dominate, but they do at least win. We can't even get to winning before we dominate with these. We've had 17 years of this ownership, whether it be part owners, shares, or total
Facts.
ownership, and we've only really got FA Cups to show
We've
for
got
it.
no
So
real history
they
with
can't
them. If I'm
really
honest.
be looking at their period. And look at when we look back, say we wind on 50 years, right? Hopefully we're still on this earth and we're old men talking football, right? But what I will say is when we get to a stage of looking back at that era, we won't remember what the Kroenkes did for Arsenal. We will remember what they did for Arsenal, but it won't be in history. It won't be look at these trophies. Do you remember that Champions League we won? Do you remember when we went and did a double? Do you remember winning the title? It won't
I
be that. I
wish
just
that
know
wasn't
it.
the case, Dan,
You
man. You're
know.
making me dream, man.
Well, look, I mean, look, it might change. It might change. Like, it might be that there's an opportunity for us to actually kick on in the next couple of windows, and we're talking differently, right? Because there's an opportunity. There's been a window of opportunity for Arsenal to win serious trophies in the last 3 years, this season included, as the previous last two, and we've left with nothing every time. I don't want to get to the end of May and say,
Facts.
here we go, we've got another season where we've won nothing. So, when does this project come to fruition to go?
It's always
We've got
next season, man.
Champions League. Boom. Yeah, and when Patrice Evra said that, Arsenal fans got all sensitive and cried. He was right, wasn't he?
He
We're
was right.
already saying it to what? Only a month ago he said that. And what, a month later we're saying, well, there's always next season again. So we've cried about someone in October, November time telling us that we are in a position where we're just Netflix FC. And we don't even get to the new year before we are Netflix FC again. Because I'm hearing people saying, wait till we get this in the summer. Wait till Zubimendi comes and we get a winger and we get a striker and we get XYZ. And I'm like, hang on a minute, like there's still a lot to play for here.
Oh,
I
we're
want
in
to win a Champions
January.
League and a Premier League here. And you know what I'm saying? Why are we giving up now? Like, it's just mad. Look, I don't think we'll win anything. And I've said that before a ball was kicked, but it weren't because we got a crap team and a crap whole of it. It's because
It's
we
because of the
didn't quite do
summer.
enough. The summer was not enough.
Still talking
And
about the
when we're
same
sitting in
thing.
January going, we need X, Y, Z, why are we doing that when we had an 8 out of 10 window in the summer? We clearly didn't have an 8 out of 10 window. We clearly had a 4 out of 10 window, like I said, and we now need
Yeah,
to go and
push
look
at
at
5 at
getting
push.
the reinforcements in. So we got to go and do it, bro. That's why I look at the Cronkies now and I say, right, we've got 3 of our wingers out, yeah, and we
But
still
Tini's
need
playing
on
left
top
wing.
of that. Tini's coming on that left wing, yeah.
You know we're
We've got
desperate.
1 striker. So Cronkies, go sort it. Real talk.
Sort it out
Otherwise, go.
seriously because we're fumbling it. But then I have to wonder with you, yeah. Then did they really want to sort it? Because I do think where you look at indirectly, Declan Rice kind of said they need players. Mikel Arteta's language has changed, but Arteta got a new deal before his ball was kicked. We all know the minute we've got 2 years back in the Champions League, we're complacent. I'm not going to say we're going to fall out the top 4 because mathematically we can, but it looks like we're going to be there again. What if they say, do you know what, we've got enough to keep ticking over? Like, did they really want to get over the line like that and salvage any potential Premier champs, even though me and you don't believe we're winning that?
Well, I think the evidence will show what's going on and what has been going on because right now, with no Edu, how influential was he? Well, if we're looking to sign players in the summer already, he probably wasn't that influential. The other thing I'll say is if we do nothing in January, the ownership are a disgrace and they're not
Facts.
backing the manager at the times that he needs it. Yes, he's backed him overall with 800 million. It's not actually that much. It's about 690 if you actually want to get really complete about it. So he spent just under 700 million, which is a lot of money. But it's only in that 5-year period. It's not like he spent 700 million in 2 years, like some managers have, like Maresca, who's still trying to get back in the Champions League after spending 1.5 billion or whatever the hell it is. So you've got to be realistic about what other people are spending. You've also got to be realistic about how much we needed to spend on top of to catch Man City. So I understand when people say that's catch-up money. I kind of get what they're saying. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of catch-up money to spend. But how much more do we need to spend then, is what I would ask. So look, the problem we put ourselves in, DG, is we're in a position at the moment where we need only the elite come into the club. So it's fine getting another 21-year-old who's going to be ready in 3 years' time to back up someone. But actually, we need someone who's ready now. I don't want someone who's ready in 3 years' time. I want someone who's going to hit the ground running. And that's going to cost you. So whether it's Sesko, whether it's Isak, whether it's Gyökeres, whether it's a winger like Lookman or Nico Williams, it ain't going to cost you £30 million. It's going to cost you treble that. And unfortunately, that's why we have to look at that now and say that realistically, we have to look at those type of players to take us across that line. And just lastly, when Mikel Arteta is coming out and Declan Rice is coming out, do you think that these two players are coming out saying that because they're confident we're going to get someone? Or do you think they're coming out saying that because they're not confident that the Kroenkes are going to support them? I would say it's the latter.
It's a battle cry, man.
If they knew what was coming in already, they'd be silent. And they say, yeah, we're a bit short. We're looking to do something. They wouldn't come out and say what they're saying, which is at the moment we're playing Kieran Tierney left wing because we're so short. And Mikel Arteta wouldn't be saying, I think we need to maximise every window. And when there's an opportunity of injuries that's happening, we're going to need some support. If you're saying stuff like that, that means you don't know who you're signing yet. And you're still having a word with the Kroenkes to see if we can borrow some dollar. So I'm sick of it, man, if I'm honest.
And I'm with you, man, in the sense of like, and I hear what you said about Josh Kroenke more of a visible face. And to his credit, I have liked that. I see you a lot more. I might not necessarily believe everything you're saying, but fair play. But then when I look at it, I'm sure you're a made man in your own right. But at the end of the day, like, it's your dad's money. It's not really yours. So you could be here as much as you want to do. Are you a decision maker? Are you a difference maker? And I don't want to say, I'm not claiming the Kroenkes are sinister yet, but these men are businessmen. You don't make all those billions of pounds with doing silly things. What if he's thought, you know what, we need to fix up the image of the club. Mikel Arteta is doing his thing. Let me make my son more of a visible face. It will shut fans up. You do your little interviews, and then it's more of the same, kind of what you're saying. Everything's next season. Like prior to Gabriel Jesus' injury, even though we needed players, all we was hearing was, yeah, it's all the summer, Cunha summer, this summer, that summer, even Zubimendi. And I've even forgot to ask you, like, where are you at with Zubimendi? Because me and you were speaking about signing at 8. But surely if we sign Zubimendi, you have what? Lewis Skelly, Declan Rice, who's playing as an 8. I don't like Moreno there, but he's there. And obviously Zubimendi, like, does it dead the idea of an 8 coming in? It's just a 6 and that's it in midfield for you, assuming this thing does happen.
I still think we need both, bruv. I still think we need both. Partey and Jorginho look like they're probably going to be off. So if Partey and Jorginho are off, that means it leaves us with Rice and Zubimendi as the 6. And then potentially Marino and either Rice or Lewis Skelly to cover for the 8. Then you've obviously got Ødegaard and Waneri in the 10. Now,
I can't forget Kai Havertz either.
And Kai. So, look, if I'm being brutal, I think we need all 3 positions signed in the summer. I think we need a 6, which looks like it's going to be Zubimendi. I think we need an 8, which I'm hoping would have been somebody in the mould or ilk of a Bruno Guimaraes. And then I think we need a 10 in the ilk of a Florian Wirtz. That's going to cost you a bomb. And we haven't even got a striker yet.
Yeah. And anything else Arteta wants.
And anything else that